Hey guys, before we start, a quick shout out to Alpha Dog Nutrition for sponsoring this podcast. Alpha Dog products are now available at dusupply.com, and you can use code ALPHADOG15 at checkout for 15% off and a credit for free shipping to try it yourself. Now let's get you to your podcast.
Where's Fielder? He's gone to the dogs.
The school with the blacks was split section. And the reason for that, the white kids had straight 9 months of schooling. So our school would be out in May, and we would start back in July.
Okay.
And it for about 2 months, and then it would shut down and close until about November to accommodate the plantation owners and all that kind of thing. So that was abolished somewhere around 1964.
Oh, that's the year I graduated high school.
Yeah, during the civil rights era, so they sort of rectified all of that.
Well, that's good. Well, Rubert, I'm going to interrupt you just a minute. I had a little bit of glitch with my recording right there at first, and I may not have gotten your introduction in, and I want to tell my listeners right now that I'm speaking with Rubert Morgan of Pope, Mississippi. Rubert is a coon hunter that I met at the UKC Winter Classic in Batesville. Remember having a nice conversation with him a time or two there, and he graciously consented to come on the podcast, and I'm really happy about that. Our mutual friend, Kimberly Clark over in Virginia, suggested that I called Rupert. But Rupert, you wouldn't be aware of that, but on my end, I saw that we were having a problem with the recording, but we've rectified that, and we can go on forward from here. This technology thing sometimes beats me pretty bad, but anyway, it's just a real pleasure to talk to you. We were talking about your growing up on a farm in there, and you say that you live now on the same farm that you grew up on, and to me that's just amazing. I've always, thought how great that would be to have that association, with the land and the memories and all that. Well, okay. So as a kid there you say it's kind of hilly where you live, and then you can go, what'd you say, about 10 miles or so and be flatlands?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, where did tree dogs or coon dogs come into to the picture for you?
All my life, everybody now, when you're talking about night hunting, everybody talks about their coon dogs, but it wasn't that many coon dogs. It was possum dogs.
All right.
Possum dogs. My dad always had tree dogs, and occasionally they would tree a coon. Coon wasn't plentiful in the hills then, like they are now. You had to go to the Delta and places like that to tree a coon. And the dogs that we had was gray, black, and tan. Sometimes a dog would, if you had an old Jip and you bred her, she was black and tan, and sometimes she had all 6 breeds in the litter. Because they was, gray dogs, and they was mixed up dogs. Back then, people bred good to good. Regardless to what breed they were, they would breed good to good. So you have everything,
Sure.
And they was possum dogs, and like I stated, they occasionally, if you caught 2 coons during a season, you was top man.
Well, that's not all that different from the way I grew up over there in southern West Virginia, because we didn't have any coons either, And my dad being from Tennessee, he grew up hunting possum dogs. hunt them on squirrels in the daytime and possums at night. And as you say, every once in a while they'd tree a coon, But that they were cur-type dogs. But now these dogs you're describing were hounds, right?
Right. They were hound dogs.
They were open trailing dogs, bark on track.
Open trail, and it's amazing. Those dogs knew, just like you're saying right now about you hunted them on everything. Most of them would not run a rabbit or nothing like that at night. They were looking for a tree.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. See, your dogs was more obedient then than they are now because you spend time with them. They went to field with you every day. I didn't know what a dog leash was until I finished high school and I moved to Wisconsin.
Oh, so you moved away from Mississippi there for a bit.
Right. I was gone for approximately 10 years, maybe.
Okay.
I worked for American Motors, and right out of high school, I graduated from high school in 1969.
Okay.
And shortly after that, I migrated up to Wisconsin. My older brother and my older sister lived there.
I see.
I spent some time there, and I really met some real coon hunters there.
Oh, I bet you did. I bet you did good coon hunting up there. Yeah.
Met guys like Max Gibson from Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Guys like that, when I stayed there. So I really learned the type of dogs, the breed of dogs, and so forth. It's just amazing. And I moved back in the late 70s back to Mississippi after my father died in 75. So I moved back and to kind of help my mother maintain this farm.
I see.
And I brought 3 hound puppies back with me.
Okay.
I bought 2 redbone pups from a guy by the name of Sid Dow, lived in De Queens, Arkansas.
I remember that name very well.
And he had a hound, a stud dog called Chick Hominy Max.
Yes, he did. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I had pups out of him, and I bought a pup from John McDonald's.
Okay, but
pup
in Texas.
Out of Texas, right?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got from some well-known breeders of that era, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did they do well back home in Mississippi?
No, they was. I think the red bones was a little bit too inbred because after Dow had purchased Chick Hominy Max from Mr. Otis Orange out in Virginia, he's a big, fine-looking red bone hound, and they bred to everything, bred dogs back to the father and all that.
Yeah.
And I think mine got caught up in that knit. They was good-looking dogs, big mouths and all that, but they wasn't balanced like we like,
I see.
They would, one of them was gun shy, never could get him out of that, and it just didn't turn out. And in this part of the country, red bones were scarce.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a man over in Perry, Mississippi. The only person who was close to me, and it was about 50 miles. Named he had a dog supply over there, and I can't think of his name right now. Les Burns, that was his name.
Okay.
Les Burns.
All right.
He was about the closest thing, so I kind of got away from the red bones, and I just started hunting anything I could get. I had a walker dog that was out of Cooks, Texas County Flash, which was John Weeks' old stock come out of Ozark Preacher walker
Yes.
dog.
Yeah. Was he predominantly black colored dog?
Yes, he was completely blanket. She was completely blanket back, and she made a good dog.
Yeah.
Pretty nice dog, and those were my early years. I had gotten married in 77, and I couldn't really. I had to take care of family.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
I didn't get a chance to really. She started well. She treated a couple of coons for me and all that, and I wound up selling her to a guy in Wisconsin named Barnum Mapp, and she made a good hound. Made a real good hound up there.
Yeah. Well, a lot of coon. So many times these dogs come from areas like yours and mine, as I grew up. They really don't have a chance to prove themselves. But when you put them in a lot of coon, they really seem to come to the top.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: as a kid growing up there in Pope or that area. Were there a lot of people in the black community that had tree dogs?
They had dogs, but they all wasn't tree dogs.
I see.
They was hunting dogs.
Yeah.
If a guy had 5 dogs, he didn't have one that would stay treed. The rest of them were just trail dogs,
Yeah.
Over the years, people kind of evolved into focusing on tree dogs. You had a few dogs, but now let me back up a little bit. In this part of the country, the only thing you saw was a red bone and a black and tan.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very few far in between Blueticks. Very few.
I see.
And Walker dogs was unheard of. And when I was growing up, anything that was black and white spotted with a red head was a fox dog.
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was this old gentleman that Dad just let me go hunting with was his name. They called him Peaches Aleline. Now he had a black and white spotted dog, and I don't think he was Walker dog. I think he was just a black and white spotted pot liquor. But he was a tree dog, and he would pretty good coon dog. And I didn't see Walkers until I got to Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw a lot of Walker dogs there, That's when I got real familiar with Walker dogs.
What year did you come back from Wisconsin?
76.
76. Okay. Yeah. Well, I did a stint in Japan with the Air Force from 70 to 73 and came back home. And then I was coon hunting quite a bit there, during the 70s. Went to UKC in 1983 to work. But, okay. I got the time frame there then. Well, so from these puppies you got, you say they didn't work out. What about the black and tan you got from John McDonald?
Black and tan was working out good, and it got stolen from me.
Oh no!
And we had a lot of trouble with that years ago. You had a lot of dog thieves, and law enforcement didn't cooperate like they do today. When
I understand.
Stolen and all that kind of thing. They didn't pay too much attention to you when you told them your dog was stolen. They kind of talk good to you right there, but they dismissed it and went on back to business. And the dog could have been just 2 miles down the road.
Yeah,
it was that way.
I understand that. I experienced that as I worked at the registry, with people who would have stolen dogs and all. Well, there around where you lived, were the neighbors friendly to let you hunt on their properties too, or was it hard?
Yeah. You could. Back then, I live about 3 miles from Interstate 55.
Okay.
And when I was a boy growing up, I could leave my house. And as far as I could go during daylight hours, I could hunt. A fence didn't mean nothing. Now, you had some guys that had cattle, and they was particular about people hunting on their place because we had bobwhite quail then. Most of the white people had bird dogs.
I got you.
joining our place to the north, it was a man named Hubert Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of peculiar. He didn't let everybody. He had postal signs on his place.
Right.
And he raised cattle right next to us. But I always got along good with him. And I would ask him, I said, Mr. Hubert, are those postage signs for me? He said, your name ain't on them. Is your name on it, boy? You know? And I was kind of different from a lot of black people, you know. It didn't make me no difference what color you were. If I want to talk to you, I won't talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And it shows, you know, in your personality. I see that. I saw that when I first met you. Yeah.
Yeah. And Mr. Hubert would say, oh, boy, go hunt. Don't shoot my cows. And I could hunt anywhere I wanted to.
Yeah, that's great.
My dad used to get on to me all the time. Said, son, you shouldn't be worrying Mr. Hubert about hunting on this place. Mr. Hubert don't want nobody on this place. You know, I said, well, he told me I could go.
That's right.
And I took advantage of that.
Sure.
You know, rabbit hunting, you know, in the daytime. Mm-hmm. You know, back then, you use the word African American, and most people do, but back then, everything was totally segregated. And when school was out, that's the only thing that black people had to do.
Yeah.
Well, go hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I would be glad when it rained in the fall of the year, then I could go squirrel hunting.
Yeah.
And we had a good squirrel dog.
All right.
I remember this one dog. Daddy had an old black and tan female named Queen. I was about 4 or 5 years old. And most of the houses that was in the rural area, then they didn't have indoor plumbing. You know, we had an outhouse and chicken houses and all that kind of thing, small chicken houses. And the old dog would go under the house when she got ready to whip pups.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd have pups under the house. And I remember vividly, I crawled under that house and found old Queen with those pups. And I brought them outside. From underneath the house, the eyes was open and everything. And she had 6 black and tan puppies. And one black and white spotted one.
Okay.
And that was my dog, Spot, all the way up through grade school and on into high school.
Yeah.
So that was I've never been without a hound.
Mm-hmm. That's
Never.
been my experience too, Rubert. When I was away in with the military in Japan, I didn't have a hound over there, but I had to have a dog of some kind, so I bought a bird dog puppy, and I halfway trained that bird dog on those pheasants they have over there. But I've always wanted a hound. You know, even I live in Florida now and not really in a good place to keep that type of dog, but I've still had hounds, you know, all along. Well, so now this litter of puppies, were these tree dogs or were these
Yes,
rabbits? Yeah, okay.
They were 3 dogs. You could hunt anything with them. It was combination dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now. But every one of those pups, Dad would give them to different people, and so I kept Spot.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a good squirrel dog. Daddy didn't much like me running rabbits with him.
Right.
But you know how it is with a boy coming up when Dad wasn't around, you kind of did things he didn't approve of. But he was a renowned squirrel dog. And he was a good tree dog at night. He would tree coons every once in a while.
Right.
But
now, what was the sire of that litter? Whose dog was that?
It was a black fellow that lived over around Pope. They had a good strain of dogs, and their dog was pretty much coon dog, but they wasn't coon dogs like they are today. He'd catch 2 or 3 coons, 4 or 5 coons a season.
Uh-huh.
A guy by the name of Allen Hintz. His daddy, they called him Monk Hintz. He was known to have good hounds.
All right, gotcha.
You know, and that dog was out of one of the male dogs of his. You know.
Did you make the effort, or your daddy, to go over and take the female over and breed to his dog? Is that how you got those puppies?
Dad did.
Yeah.
Dad did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. How long did old Spot live?
Well, Spot lived until he was stolen. He was stolen from us.
Man.
He was about 10 years. He was pretty close to 10 years old when he got stolen, and it took me a while, and I finally found out who stole the dog. But you know, back then, as I was saying at first, everything was totally segregated, so there wasn't nothing too much we could do about it. You know.
You know, that thank God that we've moved past that era in our country, you know. But I still, you know, I've met so many black coon hunters over the years, and really good friends. For instance, the Kimberly Clark that I mentioned, that told me about or asked me to call you, and so many. Guy Manning in Texas comes to mind. Chris Saunders in Ohio comes to mind. There's a fellow down here. Levi West. He's comes to mind, and so many. There was a lot of black coon hunters in Michigan, and they were mostly over in the eastern area. Around Flint in that area, and some of them are friends of this Levi down here in Florida, and they come down in the wintertime and hunt. And there was a fellow named Eddie Jenkins up in around Muskegon, Michigan, when I was at UKC. They had a great club. Everybody wanted to go to that Muskegon club because they put out such a good feed. And of course, you know, they cook Southern style, and everybody talked about how great the food was there, you know. So, but no, there's been a lot of friends that I've made over the years that were black, and I don't know why we had to go through that era in our country. I really don't, but I'm just so thankful for all my friends. I don't care what color they are. You know, it's just, if we love a tree dog and all, you know, we're family, so to speak. Do you feel that way?
Yes, sir. If you know, it's ironic about that era and that situation. If you share a common interest with people,
yeah,
it seems that you'll be more acceptable. Now, when I first started going in the 70s, going to after I moved back here, you know, they have this little coon hunting club. You know, you had a few people had coon dogs, and I would go to the club, and I would be the only guy, and all over the country, you know.
Yeah.
But it didn't make me no different, because I've always been of the opinion, and still is, I accept people and treat them as I want to be treated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Until they treat me different, and then we can get acquainted.
There you go. You go.
I used to go to the club, and folks would look at us kind of standoffish for a minute. My wife, we had a little club here. My wife taught for 40 years, and we had a little club here in Teasdale, Mississippi.
All right.
They would have these outings, these days, you know, where all of the wives would cook a dish and they would bring it. We'd have such a good time.
I'm sure.
And we was right in the middle of it. Old Jarvis Humphrey up at over at Blue Mound, Mississippi, had something that he put on called the jamboree.
Okay.
And me and my whole family would go.
Yeah.
And they treated us real nice. You know, Jarvis and I was good friends up until he died. His son, Bob, and we was in college together. Because, see, I went back to school when I came back to Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was in Northwest, and I majored in livestock technology.
Wow.
And I was the first black college bull rider in this country.
Now, come on, tell me about this now. That's awesome.
It was an opportunity, and I'm forever more thankful for it. When I went to Northwest in the latter part of '76, you know, I had been used to making pretty good money at American Motors in Wisconsin, and I wasn't going to go in no factory back here making minimum wages.
Right.
So I had to plan my work and work my plan. I was single then, and when I went up there, I assessed the situation, and I majored in agriculture. And it was like a black person in the whole program, but he wasn't like me. You know, he was kind of standoffish, a real nice, intelligent boy. But he took a class over there, and I jumped right in the middle of the white boy. I jumped right.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of it.
Why not?
I went all over the country with him, and most of the places that I went, I was the only black person you saw. But I was pretty sharp, you know. I learned how to dress for the occasion.
Yes, sir.
The girl said that I was pretty easy on the eye.
Tell it now.
At that time, so I didn't have no problem.
I
didn't have any. You know, you would be a smart aleck in some groups. You know, would say certain things. But across the country, I made a lot of friends, just like I have in this coon hunting thing.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I remember one occasion, Jarvis Humphrey's son and I went to a rodeo in Starksville, Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
Mississippi State. That's the only place that I ever been, and in my home state. Now, I don't have to talk about this, that I heard any negativeness. It was a little place out from Mississippi State called the Crossroads. It was a juke joint. And you know, the Cowboys and the football players, they was always rivals.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I walked in this place with Bob.
Yeah.
And one of my classmates had 2 or 3 beers, and he was feeling pretty good. And he saw me when I walked through the door, and he made a statement real loud, you know. Because it embarrassed a lot of people, but I always knew how to handle a clown, you know. And he made the statement. He said, "They don't allow no niggas in here." I didn't say nothing. I just kept walking slowly toward him, talking to folks. When I got close to him, he says, "You heard what I said? They don't allow no niggas in here." And excuse what I'm thinking to say, but I do want this on that broadcast that. And I turned around and said, "If you shut your goddamn mouth, well, nobody knows you was here."
Oh yeah, burned.
Everybody just rolled, and it crushed him so bad. And then, you know, people start coming up who was embarrassed by it. They were, you know, making friends with me and all that. But I didn't pay no attention. I didn't pay no attention at all. You know, as far as getting angry or retaliating. But I knew what to say to shut him down.
I'd say you did.
I never heard another word out of him that night. Matter of fact, when we got back to school, he came up and apologized. I said, "No, I didn't pay you no attention." You know, and went on. So,
yeah.
little things like that, you know.
Sure.
God has given me a gift to get along with people.
Yes, it's evident,
So
Rubert. It's evident. Yes,
I don't think I never will forget when I really, really got into coon hunting again. We're talking about over 40 years ago.
yeah.
I met the Uchmans.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, I've spent the night at their house.
great
But it was
family,
funny.
great hunting family.
Yeah, it was funny when Doyle Uchman and I, when we first started communicating, and I told him I was going to come up and hunt, and I brought my whole family. Took my whole family up there.
Yeah.
And it was a little motel on 160 called the Lynch's. And that's where we stayed. And I asked Doyle, I say, now, I want to come up there, and I know it's not anybody up there who looked like me. And he kind of chuckled. I said, will that be a problem? He said, no, Rubert, come on. And so I went up there, and we had a good weekend, and it's funny. Yeah. We was down at Mountain Home, Arkansas.
Yeah.
At a Kentucky Fried Chicken, me and my wife and the 4 kids. They were small kids.
I still love it.
my older son was, he was about 5 or 6 years old, and he's 44 years old now. He lives in Washington State. He's in the military.
Oh, thank him for his service for me.
Yeah, he's real comical. He was at the table and he was eating fried chicken. He said, Dad. I said, what's up? He said, this chicken is mighty good, and I don't see no brothers nowhere around here.
He's wondering where the other folks are. Why aren't they in there enjoying that chicken too, huh?
Yeah, he said, I know black folks up here, Dad. I said, I don't, it may be a few. So me, I always would say what I wanted to say. And when we walked up to the counter, the lady behind the counter, I said, my son want to know something. She said, what? Is there any black folks up here? She said, no, y'all did. She said, they got a Baxter lab in that area. And she said, every once in a while, a few blacks would come down in that Baxter lab, but they wouldn't stay. They'd come down and do what business they had to do at the lab because they was employed of Baxter.
I see.
Go back. She said, y'all did. But I've had quite an experience. I didn't have any problems. Now, me and the Uchmans, we're friends to this day. We've had our disagreements, but you don't let that change you. You Dog and Gary and Ricky and Lonnie. Now, Wilburn was my favorite.
Okay. I met all of those fellas at one time or another. I've probably known Gary probably better than the others, talked to him more. But, yeah.
I visited with all of them, even their dad, Mr. Bill.
Yes.
Knew him, Miss Nellie. All of them. They all have been good friends of mine until this day. I don't know if I'm their friend or not, but they my friend.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Rubert, I experienced a little bit of I guess what you have experienced in your life as being the only person, as you say so well, that looked like you.
Right.
In the area when I went to college in Florida in the actually it was 66. And back then, I'd never been on an airplane and probably didn't have money for an airplane. And some other fellows, kids from my area in West Virginia were coming to college in Lakeland, Florida. It was a church school, but it was a liberal arts school called Southeastern. They call it a university now. But we were on a Greyhound bus. And we came through the state of South Carolina, And I was amazed, really, to go through several towns, small towns, where I never saw another white person. Everybody there were black, and of course, there was no hostilities or no anything like, to be concerned about. One time, one little town stopped. They were going to some party or something down the road, and these folks got on, and man, they started the party early on that bus, and and they were having a great time and dancing in the aisles and all. I thought it was great, but at any rate, I did get to experience that a little bit, of being, hey, I'm. Well, my friends and I were the only white people there in that whole town. Several towns. So, but, we got to accept each other for who we are, Rubert. And,
That's it.
And I'm so glad that the changes have been made. And I know it's not perfect. Nothing ever is. But, man, I had a fellow over in Georgia one time at a hunt at the Winter Classic in Albany, Georgia. His name was Eddie. And he was quite wealthy. He was a black gentleman from Atlanta, and I'm not sure of his last name. My listeners will remember. But he was into coon dogs and all. And he told me, he said, Steve, you're a guy that could do a lot to encourage a lot of people that look like me, speaking of himself, to get into this sport. And he says, we need more of them, and we know they're out there, but some of them are, for one reason or another, are not participating. And I told him, I said, well, I don't know if I'm that person, but I sure would be willing to do anything that I could to help, accomplish that. So.
Well, it's a strange thing about people, during that period of time, people were reluctant of people that was different from them.
Yeah,
they was kind of standoffish, and see, my parents growing up, they sort of stayed on me all the time about, I knew it was a difference. But it didn't make me too much different. If I like you, I like you. And if I don't, I don't.
Right.
And they would, but I always had nerves. They always, I wouldn't go, if I was you, I wouldn't do guff and soap. But it didn't make me no difference. Be careful. It didn't bother me, even when I was rodeoing,
Yeah.
Well, eyes was on me everywhere. I mostly went to college rodeos, but went to several local rodeos, and everybody see you, but you don't see everybody.
No, I'm sure. What was your event? Were you an all-around cowboy, or were you a...
No, I just bull rider.
Oh, that's right. You said bull rider. Man alive, I've never in my wildest dreams ever wanted to strap myself on the back of one of them.
I didn't have to be no champion. I wasn't that good, but I had nerve enough to get on one.
I hear you. I think you got to have that.
I'd get started one in a minute and kick the hell out of it. I wasn't that good of a rider. I wasn't no champion or nothing like that, but I had the guts to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's the main ingredient right there.
Yeah, and I had to really watch myself, with people, especially the female. I knew how to handle that because I grew up in the South.
Yes.
But I had the experience with people because I just had come from up north, and it was a little bit more liberal up there.
Yes.
And I can handle it, but eyes was on you.
Yes. I can imagine.
And I think that that had a lot to do with me being able to get along with folks,
Sure. I had another little experience a few years ago, back when we started doing these podcasts. My partner, Chris Powell from Indiana, we started a podcast. We called it Houndsman XP. It was for extreme performance. And Chris was really interested in the big game dogs out west and all of that sort of thing, where coon hunting was more my thing. But we partnered with a group called Freedom Hunters. And what they do is they take people, veterans, either Gold Star family members, people that have served on active duty and all that. They take them on outdoor adventures. So we did a mountain lion hunt on the Navajo Nation.
I always want to do that.
Yeah, it's a trip. It really is. And so we went out on the Navajo Nation in Arizona. And I can remember going into Gallup, New Mexico, and walking in Walmart, and I was the only guy around that wasn't a Native American, an Indian. So, and then we find out, met some of the nicest people out there and just learned so much about their culture and what a respect they have for wildlife. And, they even, when they kill a deer, there's a process that they go through. They lay that deer a certain way, facing toward the east, I believe, and the way they skin it and everything is to show reverence, for that animal that they've taken its life. And they think whoever their God is, I guess. But anyway, I guess we've talked about that a lot. But man, bull riding, is that something you started when you got in college, or?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Actually, I was older when I went back to college, and I wanted to get into something that I was familiar with. Because up north, my job, I was auto industry. But when I came back here, I needed to find something that I was familiar with. So the farm life I was familiar with. And I said, shoot, I'm going to get into bull riding. And I can ride my way. I can work my way into the mainstream of things, and that makes a lot of difference. You got to be thinking. So it did,
Yeah.
I majored in. Go ahead.
No, sir. I'm just. I have a bad habit of interrupting my guests.
That's all right.
That my listeners are here to hear you. They hear me all the time. Well, you are a thinking man, and that's true. And I think that's why at your age, you're not quite as old as I am, but your mind is sharp as a tack. And that's one thing we think about, or I do. I don't know if you're to that stage yet or not, but, I sure don't want to get to the point where I kind of lose what little bit of, as my mother would say, my marbles, And, but, all right. Well, okay. So I kind of gathered when I talked to you earlier that you kind of gravitated more toward the Bluetick dogs. Is that true?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
All right.
And
let's talk about that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I a guy in Wisconsin. He doesn't hunt anymore. His name was Roosevelt Stewart. And he bought dogs from Lionel Charles in Sweet Springs, Missouri. I don't know if you're familiar with Lionel or not. He passed away.
No, I am not. I don't know the
He used
gentleman.
to hunt back in the 70s. He hunted big dogs, the O.O. Grant type.
Yeah,
Ozaki dogs. And I hunted with him a lot. I was hunting a great red bone then, and the dogs, the Bluetick dogs, like I say, I wasn't familiar with Blueticks too much because where I grew up at here, if a man had Bluetick dogs, he was a big shot. because the blue ticks wasn't too prevalent in this area. But I got to hunt with him and all. And
did you know T.C. Jones?
you knew him well. Went to a film.
Well, that's Duck Hill, Mississippi, right?
Yeah. No, that's just south of me here. Knew him well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you go ahead, but I had to jump in there with that when you talk about Bluetick in Mississippi.
My wife has a cousin. When I start really looking into the Bluetick dogs, my wife had a cousin. He's still alive. You know Richard Moore, don't you? In New York.
Absolutely. I started to mention Richard earlier.
All
right. I know Richard very well.
We fixing to get started now. Richard Moore and my wife is relatives.
Really?
Yeah. I bought a puppy from Richard when he was hunting Bluetick dogs. You talking about way back.
Yeah.
He had 2 dogs, Crybaby and Ace.
Okay.
I bought a pup, and he shipped her here on a plane. This is in 1981, somewhere around there. Well, she didn't turn out to be the dog that I really wanted, but she was a nice little dog. And but I think somewhere around 84, Richard had acquired a hound called Mississippi Chips 2.
All right. Was this a blue dog?
Blue dog.
Okay.
Yeah, before he got into the English dogs, he flew here and he and I hunted 3 or 4 nights. Because see, Richard's mother lived in Como, Mississippi. And he was here to visit his mom, and he was on his way down to South Mississippi, Hattiesburg, or something, hunting some kind of hunt down there.
Okay.
But anyway, he brought the Chips dog here, and I had never seen a Bluetick dog with that type of action. That's what really sold me into the Bluetick dogs. Okay. This dog was out of Rodney Rose, Mississippi Chip.
Okay, and Rodney was the president of the BBCHA at one time, and from Kansas.
Yeah. Copper City, Kansas.
Yes.
Exactly. And the mother of this dog pup was a dog called Whitman's Judy.
Heard the name.
Owned by a guy named Al Whitman in Missouri, Vandalia, Missouri.
Okay.
Well, anyway, that cross was made about 6 times. The old Nanny Chips dog that Jerry Richmond them had, and all them dogs come out of that same cross. But they made the cross about 6 times. And so I did some searching, and I found out. I met Rodney over the phone and his wife, Rita. And somehow or another, Rodney and Al Whitman had a disagreement, so they kind of got silent for a while. But they reaccumulated the relationship, and they made the cross again.
Okay, I'm with you.
So I called Rodney, and I said, "Yeah, we got a little pup," and he said that they picked over all of them except one, I believe. And he said, "This pup, I don't know if you want him or not, Rubert. He has a glass eye." And I told Rodney, I said, "I don't give a damn if he got 3 teeth and a hair lip. I want the pup." So he hooked me up. He hooked me up with Al Whitman, and Al Whitman, we talked. He said, "Well, how you gonna get him?" He said, "Well, I don't ever ship none." I said, "You tell me how to get to you, I'll come get him." Well, anyway, we kind of dibble-dabble with that for a while, and then he called me one morning. He said, "Robert, you still want this pup?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Gary Usman wants him, but he's got a glass eye, and Gary don't want him, and some guy in Ohio wanted it." somebody know how an hour one, but he had the glass eye and they didn't want it. But I did. I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
So he told me, he said, now, well, I might be able to help you out on getting the pup to you. He said, the pup's going to be at John Wick's in Montgomery, Missouri. And a guy from your area, from Ashland, Mississippi, by the name of Dale Derrick, which was a game warden, he said he's coming here to get a walker dog from John Wick's. And he'll bring that pup back to Mississippi for you. I said, good deal. Well, so I called Mr. Derrick, and he said, I'd be glad to bring him back. But anyway, I heard that Dale Derrick, the game warden, told John Weeks. Well, John Weeks told me that himself. Because Tommy Wren and I went by his place one year, and he told me that the game warden told John Wicks, don't tell nobody I hauled a damn Bluetick all the way across the world. And John told him, he said, now, I don't know what kind of hunter that boy is that you ain't taking that dog to. But if he's anything like what he come out of, you'll want him in about a year. and he did.
Okay.
And I was high schooling dog in 1990 with him.
Okay. Is that at
the state hunt? At the state hunt.
State hunt. Okay. All right.
Out in Human, Wisconsin. And in 1993, I was high schooling dog at Arkansas State Hunt. Mm-hmm. And I won everything all the way down through him, Blue T.C. Jones, them dogs out of the woods. He was one hell of a little hound. And didn't nobody want to breed to him because he was had a half face and a glass eye, but he was some kind of hound.
Yeah.
He weighed about 58 pounds, but he had a mouth of a 110-pound dog.
Yeah. Just the way I like them. Yeah.
And could run a coon like he was tied to him.
Yeah.
It was a tree dog and a pressure tree dog.
Yeah.
He was some kind of hound. I hunted him until he died.
Did you get some pups out of him?
He never produced the type of dog he was.
I see. That happens so many times, and this thing of breeding dogs, it's what makes it so complicated at times, You can't always just breed best to the best,
No, you can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and you don't know what you're breeding because back then, people bred, you didn't have all this DNA stuff and all that kind of stuff you got now. And people did things and they weren't quite truthful with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know that. But anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, he made one hell of a hound. I had dogs out of them, but they was kind of mediocre. He was a super hound.
Well, so that kind of cemented that Bluetick breed as being your breed of choice, yeah. I would imagine, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. But see, I'm like this. Blueticks are my breed of choice, but I got high respect for other breeds.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're a hunter, and if you are, you really love coon hunting, number one. And so, if you don't really say, well, I want to get into that line of dogs, at least you have respect for it,
Oh, yeah.
And you mentioned go ahead.
I'll hunt any breed, but Blueticks are my dogs of choice because they're working dogs.
Yeah.
To me.
Sure.
But now they got them bred up now. You can't tell no difference in them dogs no more.
The way they operate, you mean, right?
Right,
mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole different world, and you mentioned back earlier when you were younger and all, well, guys would have several dogs and they'd have one that would tree, and I experienced that too as a kid coming up. And I remember my times when I was in college in Florida, I went home with a boy over to Hurley, Mississippi. You know where Hurley is?
Yeah.
Yeah, over toward Mobile, over that way. And I went out, and he knew I was a coon hunter, and he lived in the country. His father was a pastor and all. And he said, "You want to go coon hunting?" I said, "Absolutely." And so we went out with a good-sized group of guys, and they had a couple truckloads of dogs, and they turned everything they had loose. And I think they had one tree dog in the whole bunch, But that's, some people, that was coon hunting. That's the way they like to do it. The more people and the more dogs, the better,
That's right. But, you learn. I learned when I got to Wisconsin and started hunting with some guys. It's kind of professional level.
Yeah.
That your hunting success will be better if you ain't got no more than 3 dogs in the woods. You can tell what your dogs are doing. And so I learned that.
When you were in Wisconsin, did you hunt with guys like Russ Downing? That had the toad?
I didn't hunt with Russ, but I knew Russ. Russ Downing. I knew him. He had the toad dog.
Yes.
And I knew Max Gibson.
Yes.
Down in Oak Creek. And matter of fact, Max and I still talk a little bit. I never hunted with those guys, but they knew me.
Yeah.
Because see, I had a little talent. See, when I got to Wisconsin, I was about the youngest black coon hunter. All the other black coon hunters. I lived in Milwaukee, and the young people, they didn't hunt. They was in the streets.
Sure.
And I hunted, but I could call a coon down out of a tree with my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And that went all over Wisconsin, and a lot of people knew me that I didn't know them.
Sure.
So that kind of did that.
Yeah. Well, there's other people up there too. Maybe a little later on. Did you know a guy named Jeff Dargy, a blue dog man?
No. Robbie Brooks.
Robbie Brooks. I was just going to mention Robbie. Yes.
Yeah. Robbie comes Robbie and I are close friends now.
Okay.
Robbie comes to the Winter Classic, and I see to it that he has a place to stay.
Well, that's great. His daughter's really into coon hunting.
Savannah.
Yeah.
Samantha.
Yeah.
Samantha was.
Yeah.
And anyway, Robbie has a partner named TJ, which is a super nice guy. Hunts a good walker dog. And I know a lot of those guys up in that area.
Sure.
Now, Bardini, I used to know, and I think that was his name, and it used to be a Mark Hefferner. Stayed up there.
I remember that name, too. Well, of course, I was over in Michigan there in Kalamazoo for about 22 years, and that's blue dog country in there with Ed Mead and Dave Dean, and Kenny Herman lives over there east of there, and just so many of them, a whole lot of Bluetick people up there in Michigan, and
Steve Morgan up in that area.
Morgan,
he hunts blue dogs in Ohio. Well, he's in Ohio though.
Well, it's all that upper Midwest up there. Kind of all runs together. Steve Burkholder is a guy that ran, and those the boys that had the Droop dog up there, McAvoy's and those people in Ohio, and the boy. Man, I'm gonna mess up here because I'm gonna forget some people, and but yeah. Well, see, I grew up in West Virginia. And Blueticks were very common around the area there, primarily because of Kelly Bragg. Did you ever hear the Bragg bred Blueticks, Kelly Bragg? Yeah.
He was a peculiar kind of a guy. I talked to him several times on the phone.
He was a circus performer. He was he walked. He was a trapeze performer. And he would work the circus and all that, and then he'd be off during the winter, and he'd come back home to Brooks, West Virginia, which is, as the crow flies, probably 15, 20 miles from where I lived. But he would coon hunt, and he wrote those ads, in the Cooner or Full Crop magazine. And so there were a lot of those brag-bred Blueticks, and some Avon Ellison was an old name that you'll see in Bluetick circles. And those dogs were the background of some of Kelly's dogs. We could talk Blueticks for a long time, Rubert, because... Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No.
I know a gentleman that I admired a lot. Matter of fact, I drove to Virginia and hunted with him in the early 90s. That's Mr. Everett Dalton.
Oh, yes. I've been to Everett's house. I've sat in his living room. And, of course, Everett's passed on now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was there, when we got there that evening, it's 500 miles from my house to Mr. Everett's house.
Yeah,
and
in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
My wife and I got there that evening, and he had a note on the door, so y'all come on in and make yourselves at home. So when we opened the door, it was like what the kitchen is, and we sat at the table, and Mr. Everett came in about, 30 minutes after we got there. He said, "Why didn't y'all go in there on the soft couch and everything?" I said, "My mama told me, you sit down at the first chair that you see when you're in somebody else's house." He got tickled over that.
He was a great fella. I really enjoyed visiting with him, and he had gotten into beagles in the later years. Mm-hmm. And
let me finish my story.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I've interrupted a good story here. You go right ahead, Rubert.
Jim Myers.
Yes.
Down in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Know him well.
Some of his dogs called Smokey.
Yes.
Smokey, too, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And it's about 150 miles from what Mr. Everett stayed. So Jim called. They was communicating on the phone, and Mr. Everett told him, said, "Rubert Morgan is here." He said, "Well, what time you guys going to hunt?" And Mr. Everett said, "I don't know. We ain't no hurry." So Jim asked us to wait until he got there.
Mm-hmm.
He and his wife, Lynn, drove all the way from Winston-Salem up, and we had a good coon hunt that night.
I'll tell you a quick one about Jim Myers. He did me a big favor. He hauled a plot female from Virginia all the way out to Hearne, Texas for the American Heritage Hunt so I could get her bred. And and I ended up buying a puppy that was a half brother was out of the dog I was breeding to, which was some of our bloodline. Anyway, made a huge contribution to my breeding program back in those days. I always thank Jim for that act of kindness. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. But that's coon hunters for you, Rubert.
Jim Myers, Mark Houck.
Oh, yeah.
I've been knowing for years.
Mm-hmm.
Years.
Yeah. I see Mark at most of the big events. They've started that American Bluetick Association, and Mark, I knew him when he was in North Carolina, in the military. I think he was at Fort Bragg those days and all.
Yeah.
But no,
Do you know Judge David Bamlett?
Do I know who?
Judge David Bamlett.
Yes. Yes, I've met him.
He's a friend. He's a friend of mine.
All right. That's right. Well, that Bluetick group used to be awfully close, especially, there were different groups, especially the BBCHA group. I'd go to the hunts there in Arkansas, and that's where I met Albert Vaughn, and I met the gentleman from Pine Bluff. I'll think of his name just a minute. He was very prominent in the Blue Dogs. Oh, why can't I think his name? But just Lonnie Smiley, and I met the Uchmans there, and just so many of them. But And then over on the East Coast, there was a different group of guys over there, with Junior Duncan, Les Rogers, Torrance Wilkinson, just, so many of them. But that was my good fortune, Rubert, to have the job I did, so that I traveled all over the country to these breed events, and I got to meet people from all the breeds that way,
That's good.
Yeah, it was really a pleasure for me. Well, Rubert, we've been at this over an hour now, and it's been really enjoyable for me. You got any good stories you want to share with me? A good hunting story, or a story about a good dog you had?
I've had a lot of good dogs, but the little hot rod dog was kind of my favorite.
Yeah.
He sticks out. I got some good hounds now.
Okay, I wanted to ask you about that. What are you hunting right now? I'm interrupting you again.
No, you're not. I hunt. I got a pen full of dogs. I got about 8 dogs right there.
Yeah.
And every one of them will tree a coon, but they're not the dogs that I used to have because I don't hunt back then.
Well, that's right. These younger fellas may not understand that, and they may be a little critical of us, but their day's coming, as my mother used to say.
I cannot stand the heat.
Oh,
like
no.
I used to.
I'm with you.
100-degree weather, and I'm scared of a mosquito now. I'm more afraid of a mosquito than I am a rattlesnake.
Well, they carry everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit more reluctant to just tan into the woods now, and I don't hunt. My mother in her lifetime, she used to get on my case all the time about hunting by myself. I love hunting by myself.
Yeah.
But it's not good. It's not good.
No, I can't do it down here where I am in Florida. There's just too many pitfalls, and that I use that term because I'm, I don't fall much in the woods because I use a walking stick, but my balance is not good anymore. And I'm not going to be out there, in that. I used to just hop up on that tailgate and put a dog in the dog box if I needed to or whatever. Now I wouldn't even think about it, even climbing up there.
Let me tell you what happened to me about 2 years ago. My wife has had 2 knee surgeries and 2 hip replacements.
Oh, okay.
And when they go through that.
Oh, yeah. My wife had a knee.
Yeah. You got to babysit them just like a baby. So when she got to where she could get in the bed by herself, I told her one night, I said, look, can you make it? She said, yeah, I can get in and out. And I said, I'm going to go down on the creek. I'm going to turn these dogs loose. So I had 2 young dogs here. The green is a go, but red did it. I loaded them up. Had a leash on one side of the box and the other one I didn't. When I got down to where I was going to hunt, opened the dog box, and the one that didn't have the leash on him, he ran out, and I grabbed him in the collar, so I grabbed him by the leash, and I'm thinking that I'm 40 years old. I got to walk up a little draw and cut him loose and send him up the holler. So the one that I had my hand in his collar, he jerked out of my hand. He gone. They went and standing up on the hind legs and everything. And I went to bend down on my right side to unsnap the other dog. And when I did, my foot slipped out from under me and I grabbed a tree.
Oh.
So I put in a headlock, right? And I heard it, and my foot slipped out under me and I hit the ground flat on my back.
Oh.
And I heard something say, yeah, just like that.
Ooh.
And my bicep and my forearm, I had to go get that corrected. They had to
Tore
do
it.
surgery and reattach it. So that was a wake-up call. Now, let me tell you what happened. They left, them 2 hounds left, and I'm telling you, man, you ain't never heard such a race in all of your life. And I said, them dogs are running a deer, and I don't have no trash breaker on them. And now what am I going to do? You know, they went, I guess, quarter mile, and they made a left, and they headed south. And I said, well, I get in my truck. My arm is throbbing. Not hurting, but just throbbing. I drive down to the end of the hayfield, and when I got down there, they had crossed that where I was going to stop them at. Well, I was going to try to stop them at.
Yeah.
And they jumped another ditch, and I said, oh, my goodness, I know they're running a deer. I wish I had a shock on. Yeah. And just a few minutes, them two pups pulled up, man. You ain't never heard two young dogs that ain't never been in the woods for a tree. And you're right. So I got to go to them.
Oh, my.
Whole arm is throbbing and going on. I got to walk this ditch and find a place I can slide down in it. And when I got down in there, I walked up and down that ditch. I could find me a place I could pull myself up with one hand.
Mm-mm.
Well, when I did, I walked on in there to them, and it was another tree was blown over next to the tree that he was treeing on, and one dog was up in the top of that tree.
No. Oh, no.
And I finally talked him down, got him on a leash, got both dogs on a leash, and I said, I got to find this coon because I can't go back and lie. And I turned my light on, and I walked around there until I spotted him. He was up between a vine and a limb. I said, hey, you. And my mind said, don't shoot that coon because you never will get them dogs off of them with that one arm. So I petted my dogs up, and I came back. Finally got them loaded up. I drove around trying to wait till that arm sort of subside. It didn't. I come on home, and I told my wife what had happened. And she just kind of grunted, like that.
They're not very sympathetic of it.
No, and I sat here, and it was getting worse. And I said, what am I going to do? Well, it came to me. I prayed about it. And in my spirit, it alerted me, go ahead, put me in front of you and go on option. So I drove over to option and went into the emergency room. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. And doctors came in and looked at it and said, you don't have any broken bone, but you got a bad tap. And said, well, set you up in an appointment with an orthopedic surgeon. And you see him next week. And I went, and he looked at me. He said, well, it will come back together, but I need to go in and attach the thing because if it doesn't come back like it's supposed to, I'll have a problem putting it back together. So I went on and got that surgery done. So that was one of the things that kind of makes me reluctant about in the woods at night.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, I hunted an awful lot by myself in Michigan, especially. Even I did in West Virginia, too. Now, the West Virginia situation, it's big country, big hollers, steep ridges, lots of opportunities to get messed up, But right. Michigan, no matter where you looked, you were going to see a yard light somewhere, farming country. And so I didn't worry too much about it. I'd drive back a lane, along a cornfield or bean field or whatever. But I hunted a lot by myself then. And really, I hate to say this, I prefer it, but I really did, especially if I had a dog that I was working that I liked or a young dog or something. I was a little bit selfish that way. I wanted to be out with my dog and watch it.
You don't have all that riffraff. You don't have a lot of riffraff. People saying, well, he did that or he did. No, you got that by your dog, by yourself.
Yeah.
You can unwind.
Oh, yeah.
All of that,
it's very therapeutic, or it has always been for me, Rubert. Well, listen, now you're what, 74 now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to see 79 in October, so I've got almost 5 years on you. But
that's a blessing.
It is a blessing. It certainly is, and it sneaks up on us fast, doesn't it? Can you imagine how quick that we got to this age? It just seems impossible to me.
I don't know what a time went, but it does.
Yeah.
I understand what they say when they say life is short.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right.
Well, I'll have to echo the words of my dad. He lived to be 88. He was a farm boy from Tennessee, married a girl from West Virginia and lived most of his life there. Pipe fitter by trade. But he used to always say, Steve, I've had a good life. I've had a good life,
Oh, yeah.
And I can say that as well. And just getting to meet and talk to people like you are part of what makes it such a good life for me. And I really appreciate your time today. We had a time getting together. I was all set yesterday, and here right next door, here pulls about 4 big trucks, and they start working on the sewer out on the street, and I'm like, no, that's not going to work, So, but you were very gracious to accommodate my schedule and all, and I really appreciate it. And are you going to the Winter Classic in next February?
I wouldn't miss it. It's just 5 miles up the road.
Well, that's not fair. It takes me about 2 days to get out there.
Actually, I had a hand in bringing the Winter Classic to Batesville.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I get to work with the mayors and
all right.
city officials and all that kind of thing. And,
Good
and
deal.
in 2016, I brought BBOA to Batesville.
Yeah.
To,
Bluetick Breeders of America.
Bluetick Days.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
I'm still pretty active in
Yeah, well, God bless you. That's a lot of work. Well, I'll crow a little bit. I started the Winter Classic in Albany, Georgia.
I heard you did.
Yeah, we looked around. Fred Miller, the president of UKC, and I were on 9 airplanes in 2 days looking at fairgrounds around in the southeast because we wanted to hunt there. And I've still got a cough that's plaguing me. But anyway, but thank you.
Let me say this. You know what I wanted to do, and I think it's going on this weekend.
Okay.
And it slipped up on me. In Londonville, Vermont.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
61st annual. And
It's called the Coon Hunters Reunion.
Yeah, I'm planning right now, and I talked to Kimberly about it, and another friend of mine down in Louisiana, name is Kermit Adams. And we plan on next year, if the Lord say the same, we want to make that trip.
That would be awesome. There was a guy named Vinny Orlando.
I remember.
You remember Vinny?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I think he was part of that whole deal up there too. Yeah, and there was another fella, Fred. I can't remember some of the names anymore, but that hunt's been going on for a lot of years. How many did you say? Did you know how many years the Coon Hunters?
No, 62.
62.
62.
That's amazing.
Is it a big hunt? Is it a pretty good size hunt?
Well, I think it was years ago. I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Like everything anymore, that the numbers are probably comparable to what they were maybe back in the 70s or 80s, but it'd still be a good time and beautiful country,
Yeah. Is it UKC sanctioned?
Yes. Fred Miller went up there one time, and he always talked about what a good time and what beautiful country it was up there. Lyndonville, Vermont. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, I certainly hope you get to go, Rubert. And
I pray I do too.
Well, my buddy Nubbin Moore, Nubbin's I think 82 now, will be heading to Autumn Oaks on Labor Day weekend. Have you ever been to Autumn Oaks?
never been to all of
You
those,
would
been to
enjoy
all
it
of the rest of them.
tremendously. You would
But
enjoy
there's
it.
always something going on
Yeah.
that weekend with my family
Mhm.
reunions,
Oh, yeah.
school reunions or something like that. So I hadn't had a chance to go.
Yeah. Well, I hope that you do get to go sometime because you'll really enjoy it. But you've got the Winter Classic right there in your back door, so that's hard to beat.
Oh, yeah.
And that's such a nice facility there at Batesville. And I always enjoy it for sure.
I was on the board to build that thing,
Ah, yeah.
See, I said I was on
On the board to build that civic center there?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I was one that was on that board,
I got you. Well, that's a
But,
beautiful
let me tell you
facility.
this.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you this before you go. BBCHA, they got a little bit of disturbance and stuff that's going on now. And, but I don't pay too much attention. And see, we had 40 board members. And they reduced it down to 9. And all those guys are kind of upset about it. And one guy called and asked me, aren't you upset? Because I was on the board of directors.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I'm not upset about that. I said, I came from a single shot rifle, a one-eyed dog, a Kroger sack, and a carbide light.
There you go. Me too.
I made it all the way to the board of directors of the BBCA.
There you go.
I wouldn't have gave a damn if they'd have put me off the next day. Because I made it.
You made it. That's right. That is right. What a great, great attitude. Rubert, you've been an absolute joy to talk to today, and I know that my listeners are going to enjoy hearing your story, and I certainly wish you the best as you go forward, and I hopefully, we'll continue doing these podcasts. One comes out every Monday, and this one will come out on, let me look here at the calendar. I believe this one will be out on the 21st of July. So anyway, try to stay cool down there. Stay out of the way of those mosquitoes, and just enjoy your summer. And the good Lord willing, I'll see you after the first of the year out there at Batesville.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Once again, that's Rubert Morgan, 74 years old, still enjoying the great sport of coon hunting from Pope, Mississippi. Folks, thank you for listening in another week. I want to thank our sponsors, W Hunting Supply, also Alpha Dog Nutrition, and my friend Big Mark Zapp with Zapp Predator Calls. Until next time, if somebody asks you where is Steve Fielder, tell them that he's down there around Pope, Mississippi with Rubert Morgan, and they've gone to the dogs.